First of all, I understand you're not a real big DC fan, but you're sleeping on DC, bro. You're sleeping on it, bro. You're probably gonna say you're not, but you're sleeping on it, bro. Bro, I've been reading the new revamped, like, I guess not really truly revamped, but they've created all new storylines for all these DC characters. And dude, it is freaking. I've been reading. Batman's on issue 21. I've read the first 5-6 chapters. And you're sleeping on it, bro. You're sleeping on it. Like this new rendition of like Batman and Superman and all that stuff is freaking cool, man. It's a different take. Obviously, I'll always be the original. I'll be an original guy first, but bro, you got to stop listening to people, because everyone was saying that it was. There's been a lot of critics saying it was bad, but then people go to see it, and they're rating it like an 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like people are giving it really good ratings. And if you're not a big Supergirl fan, that's okay, but it's DC, bro. It's still cool, man, because yeah, they did that on purpose. They ain't going after nobody. Why are you going up like that? Oh, maybe so. Never mind. But what was I saying? Oh, I got sidetracked, bro. I'm gonna need you to stop sleeping on DC, man. DC. Sorry about that. DC's good. You can't tell me, bro. I've been sending you stuff left and right on this new DC stuff that's been coming out and what they're doing and all this stuff, bro. You can't tell me Batman, Superman, the Flash, the Green Lantern. These dudes are not interesting characters. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, I understand that DC is more of like the fantasy kind of thing, but that's what makes it cool, man. I mean, it's relatable in a lot of ways. Yeah, we don't have superpowers and stuff like that, but neither do we have anything with I mean, I'm sorry. Same thing with Marvel. There's fantasy there too. Thor and Thanos and Iron Man, and that's all fantasy too, bro. There ain't no billionaire guy out there flying around in no dang suit. Same thing with Batman. There ain't no billionaire vigilante. Like, there's a lot of good characters on both sides, but I don't know, man. I'm not the type of guy to be like, oh, well, you know, DC's better than Marvel and Marvel's better than DC, because I don't believe that. I think they both have strengths and they think they both have weaknesses. Marvel is imperfect and far from it. And I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of DC characters that would smack down half of the Marvel universe. Like, let's not fanboy here and be like, oh, you know, DC is just weak and it's not all that interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff on the DC side. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. You love Spider-Man and you like what you like, and that's cool, man, but there's a lot of Marvel movies that came out that were freaking completely trash, bro, and I still went to go see it. You know what I mean? So don't sleep on it just because it's Supergirl. You might find it good. You never know. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Marvel, but I do like certain characters. Like, I love Spider-Man, and I love the X-Men, right? And I've watched all those. Were they perfect? Absolutely not. You know? And then you got to think, like, the Avengers. It wasn't perfect. I mean, it was not none of those movies that they made were perfect. Were they interesting and good? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I like Thor, and I like all those characters too. But at the same time, like, Black Panther wasn't all that great. It could have been better. It could have been a lot better. I mean, It got worse after, boy, you know, we won't go there, but, you know, it got progressively worse. And those first Hulk movies were complete trash, bro, and you can't lie, but you still went and seen them. So, but I get it, man. I get it. You know, if you're not a big DC fan, you know, you're probably not going to go see it. That's fine. But you did watch Arrow. Arrow's DC. You liked Arrow. You liked the CW Flash. You liked that. That was, you know, you're a Flash fan. You watched, what else did you watch? You watched another one that was DC as well, and you liked that too. So they make good stuff. There's awesome characters in the DC universe. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but I don't know, man. I get it, man. But, and that's fine, bro. If you don't want to go see it, that's fine. I'm going to go see it because I'm a DC fan. And I'll be honest with you, bro. I am not the biggest Supergirl fan either. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Supergirl, Superboy, any of that. I'm not really a big fan of any of those characters. But I'm going to see it because it's DC. Now, James Gunn I will say James Gunn. I don't really... The way he's taking the route, I don't really understand it. He's doing a pretty good job of... A lot of people were hating on that Superman. But believe it or not, you may not like this, but that Superman, and this is public opinion. They did what they do? I forgot what they call it, but the new Superman beat out the old Supermans. They did. They beat out I'm talking. It beat out the Man of Steel movie. Believe it or not, the new Superman was more true to the character than Zack Snyder's character. Did I like Zack Snyder's character? Absolutely. I like the dark grittiness of Superman. But the new Superman actually did better than Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. What I think the problem is with DC is they're not getting the right people to play the roles for long periods of time, like Marvel. And they do too much there's too many storylines. There's too many. There's too many versions of Batman. There's too many versions of this. There's too many versions of that. And that's why we're getting all these different Batman movies. But you got to think, Batman is like the sole... I'm willing to bet my left nut and have this debate that Batman himself, the name Batman, is holding up DC's franchise by himself. Now, Superman does a good job, but when a Batman movie comes out, people are there because everybody loves Batman. And then I would say Batman's a close second, right? But Batman himself is like, no one's going to be like, I don't want to go. No, man, nobody's saying that. But the thing is, too, there's a lot of different storylines that they're going off of, and it can be a little bit confusing. And I can understand the frustration with fans because of that. But here's what I think is the biggest problem, though. There's fanboys. Fanboys are the biggest problem because you're always going to go with a closed mind. You're always going to be biased, and you're always going to be like, well, Marvel this. There's two separate worlds. You got to take that out. DC is not Marvel. Marvel's not DC. So when you take it when you take it with an open mind, you're gonna see differences and you're gonna see it differently. But it doesn't mean it's not good. You just got to see it with a different perspective. A lot of people, that's the problem. There's too many fanboys out there that are like, oh, Marvel's better than DC and blah blah blah, bro. No, stop. It's different than DC, yes. That doesn't necessarily make it better than DC. That's the problem when you get fanboys out there. I've already told you from the beginning that I'm a DC guy through and through, but I'll never be biased towards DC and be like, oh man, DC just it crushes Marvel. No. They both got strengths and they both got weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, DC's got a lot of good characters. Say what you want, but DC's got amazing characters. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks that Marvel's got all the powerful characters. Bull. I'm willing to put Superman up against almost anybody. You know what I mean? And then there's other characters that are stronger than Superman, like Black Adam. Believe it or not, Black Adam is really powerful. They doled him down when, first of all, The Rock shouldn't have played him, but they dole him down a lot. Shazam. Shazam's not more powerful than Superman, but he's powerful. But Black Adam, right, he is extremely powerful. And there's people even more powerful than him. Like, oh, darn it. All this stuff is falling. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't people need to stop. I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying people, these fanboys need to stop sleeping on DC like there's some pushovers. They're not pushovers, bro. You're getting it all twisted. You're getting it all twisted. Darkseid's powerful, bro. And there's people more powerful than Darkseid. So it's like, I don't like the whole debate between, which one's better, because it drives me nuts. Because now people are just fanboying out and like, so, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, enough, bro. Enough. It's two different worlds, bro. And that stuff just drives me nuts, bro. And these transformations that Superman gets, bro. With some of these transformations that Supes gets, he could probably one-shot over half the Marvel universe. And I'm talking like he's like stupid powerful with some of these transformations. So it's like, I don't like the fact that there's this whole fanboy thing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I don't like that, bro. It's like, be open-minded. You gotta understand. You gotta see DC for what DC is, and you gotta see Marvel for what Marvel is. They're not of the same universe. If they are part of the same universe, we can compare. Like, this character's better than this character, and this character's better than this character. So, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? So, for me, it's just like, and I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about, like, people in general. Like, all these people are crapping on this Supergirl movie. Bro, I sent you somebody who went and watched it. He gave it a good review. He said, yeah, I'd give it like an 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. Like, that's a pretty high review. Like, because people are sleeping on it, and they're trying to, what it is fanboys always try to compare the two. You cannot compare the two. You can't compare Supergirl to Iron Man or whatever. Like, you just can't. Or Miss Marvel. We'll say Miss Marvel, right? But you can't, bro. You can't. It's two different worlds. You got to see Supergirl for Supergirl. And you got to see her for... And a lot of it's probably, like, not enough reading of the characters. Like, I think if a lot of people, like... I know you were a Batman fan and a Supes fan and a Flash fan. I already knew that. But if people actually read the comics and knew who these characters were, there's a lot of depth and character building off of these guys, man. I don't understand it. It's because people are so biased, they don't want to give anything else a shot because Marvel's superior to everything. And it's like, no, it's not. If you actually read the comics, like this, like, oh man, the reissuing of Batman, it's a completely different take. And it's good. It's really good. Absolute Batman. It's absolute super. All these, their stories are different. It's just a cool take of these characters. And I think a lot of problems is, again, it's just fanboying out. But these new issues of Batman are freaking incredible. I've been sending you stuff on. I don't even know if you've been watching. You probably haven't. But I'm telling you, listen to these videos I've been sending you, bro. Like, because I'm telling you, once you get rid of the fanboy like outlook, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying people in general. When people fanboy out and they don't see these characters for who they are, you're missing a whole lot of good content. You really are. You're missing a lot of content. I mean, Batman is iconic. I'm willing to put his name up against anybody in Marvel. Superman is iconic. Flash is iconic. And this is movies aside. I'm saying just in general, these characters are very iconic. But so is Marvel. Marvel's got X-Men. They're super iconic. Spider-Man, super iconic. I mean, Thor. I mean, Iron Man. There's a lot of iconic characters. Same as DC. You have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter. I mean, there's a lot of amazing characters on both ends. But people gotta see it differently and stop trying to compare the two, because you can't compare the two. People got to be more unbiased and see it for what it is. You can be fans of both. You don't have to be one side versus the other. That's the problem. Everyone compares. They're like, oh, Marvel would stop it. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. You think you're just going to get a one-up on DC? No, I don't think so. Stan Lee was an amazing writer. He is a great creator of a lot of these characters. But for people to say that Marvel would squash DC, I don't think so. Problem is, a lot of people don't get into the characters. They don't invest in the characters like they do Marvel. You know? And there's also people saying that they're not relatable. That's nonsense. How can you say you're not relatable to Bruce Wayne? Without the billionaire and all the money, right? How can... sorry. How could you not say he's not comparable? Lost his parents at a young age. That's pretty comparable. Wants vengeance for the innocent. I'd say that's pretty reliable or relatable. I can go on with Batman. What about Superman? Superman came here, right? Obviously, we're not aliens. We didn't come here, right, like that. But you got to look deeper than that. Look past the powers. You got to look at him as an individual. Clark Kent. He loves family. He's a farm boy. Maybe we're not all relatable to farm, but that's okay. Look past that. What does he have? He has his parents. He loves his parents. He meets a girl, Lois Lane. He wants to protect. He wants to do the right thing. It ain't no different than Spider-Man. You think we're all relatable to Spider-Man? We're not. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to take it for what it is. And these people are relatable. Hal Jordan. He was an Air Force guy. He was in the military. We weren't Air Force, but we were in the Army. You know what I mean? When you actually look for things that are relatable, you'll start to see like, oh man, we are actually pretty relatable to some of these characters. Just because it's fantasy, so is Marvel. Marvel's fantasy. But you're not going to get bit by a spider and all of a sudden now you're shooting webs and climbing up walls. Come on. DC's got a lot of relatable characters too. You know what I mean? So that's the problem I have when it's like, oh, it's just not good, or there's no character development, or they're the same old thing all the time, and it's not true. It's not true. When you read the comics and you read the backstories and you understand these characters, you can relate to these guys a lot. You're always going to find one character over another that you can relate more to. That's understandable. I can relate a lot to Clark Kent, personally. But I also can relate to other people even more than Clark Kent, right? But I can relate to people on Marvel too. So it's like, it's not about, if that's what interests you about a character, it's like you're being biased again, because you're only relating to people that you find close to you, or you only like this person because of this. Like, do I think that Marvel's got a lot of good characters? I absolutely do. But so does DC. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on a tangent. I just was like, when you're like, I'm just going to stream it and not go see it because I'm not a fan of Supergirl. I get that. But all I'm saying is you should go see it. Don't sleep on it just because it's Supergirl. You know what I mean? It's still a super. It's still a Superman. It's still part of the Superman universe. Like, I don't know, man. All I'm saying is just don't sleep on it, bro. If you want to wait till it comes out, I guess, that's up to you, but it's your money. But again, stop going off. You've mentioned that before in other movies. You've been like, well, I've heard this and I've heard that. I don't know why. Stop doing that, bro. You need to go see it for yourself, and then you make the determination. Because what is happening now is because you've heard those reviews, and you can say that you're not doing this, but you are. What you're doing is you've heard those bad reviews, and now you're like, I'm just going to wait till it comes out because I don't want to waste my money. That's how you're seeing it. Like, you don't even know if it's good because you haven't seen it yourself. You gotta be open-minded about that. That's what I mean by, like, don't sleep on it, because you never know. You might say that, and then you might see it or stream it, and then you might be like, oh man, that was actually pretty good. And then you're like, and it's like, well, yeah, you could have went and saw it in theaters, and it probably would have been better. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, man. All I'm saying is don't sleep on it just because some knucklehead didn't like it or some knucklehead thinks it wasn't good. Because there's a lot of bad reviews on Marvel, and you still went and saw it. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know, because I've heard so-and-so said that it wasn't all that good. But you went and saw it. Absolutely you did. I know you did. So don't sleep on it. But, like I said, though, if you don't want to watch it because you're just not a big fan of Supergirl or whatever, that's fine. It is what it is. I ain't gonna try to force you to go see it. But don't make a decision based off somebody else's opinion, because that's gonna ruin it for you. And now when you're watching it, and when you do watch it, now you're gonna be like, you're gonna be unbiased, and you're gonna be looking for these things, and it's like, are those guys really DC fans that were watching it, or were they Marvel fans and just complaining because they kind of like DC for certain characters? And then because it didn't go to their expectations, it sucks. You see what I'm saying? That's where you go wrong. That's where people go wrong when they watch that. So it's like, that's not a good way of doing it. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I shut my mouth. I'm going to go see it because I'm a Superman fan. And I have heard the opposite. I have heard that Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 57% score, but then I've heard people say the opposite, where like it was actually really good. Was it the best DC movie they've ever watched? No, but they said it was really good. So we're hearing different things, and because you're a Marvel guy, here's the thing: it's a two-way street, right? You're a Marvel guy, you probably see a lot of stuff on Marvel and stuff like that, DC. So you're going to come across more stuff that's going to be more biased towards that movie. Whereas I look and watch a lot of stuff DC, and I'm going to get more of a positive review. You see what I'm saying? That's how stuff works online. When these data collections take your information and they build what you like based off of what you watch, you're going to get more content tailored to what you like versus what you don't like. That's the problem. So you might get a lot of people saying, it wasn't very good. Whereas I'm getting videos where it was like, oh no, it was actually pretty good. And so the thing is, we can listen to them if we want, or we can just go see it ourselves and we can make our own determination. You know what I mean? So, anyway, do what you want. I'm going to go see it because I'm a DC fan and I'm a Superman fan. So I'm going to watch and see how it goes. And I'm going to have to catch up on her history because I don't know her history like I do like some of the other characters. And I'm not the biggest Supergirl fan, but from what I'm seeing, she killed it and did a very good job as Supergirl. And so that makes me excited. So, and I'm giving Gunn his chance here, his spotlight. And he did well on a Superman movie, so I have a feeling he's going to do well on the other movies. So that's just me. Anyway, adios.